Hi Chris, Cansh, lovely to see you again. So,
Yeah.
Gunroom.tv is you've very kindly agreed to come onto our stand today and have a talk about mental preparation.
Yes.
Chris, as you know, prior to the World Shotgun Championships, I had a meeting with you in the pub. We did a bit of quality control, but the most important part was it to actually mentally prepare, help me get in a better place before I went over to Châteauroux to shoot at the Worlds. I would like to say personally, thank you very much indeed, because you actually helped me achieve what I wanted to go out there for and come back with medals, which was a bit of a Brucey bonus.
Oh, yes.
So really, let me talk about your history to start with. So if I remember correctly, you were an international shooter and you were winning golds. Tell me a little bit about that.
I was UK police champion for 4 years, pistol shot. Always been a pistol shooter. I was a GB practical, they call it rapid fire, but Olympic rapid fire pistol champion. And we were lucky enough on the precision side to win a bronze medal, so snap, as a team in a European shoot. So national and briefly an international shooter. So yeah.
So inevitably, the question I'm going to ask you is that for yourself mentally to get yourself into that very high pressure scenarios, how do you prepare yourself for that?
Okay. Well, there's 4 basic elements to being a champion shooter. The first is you've got to technically know what you're doing, and you've got to have trained sufficiently so that it becomes second nature. The second is you've got to be physically able to do what you're going to do. So there's that whole fitness, aerobic fitness with strength that comes into it. Thirdly, you've got to be mentally prepared, and fourthly, you've got to be tactically prepared, so you know how you're going to run each of your shoots. Now, the mental and the tactical side tend to go hand in hand in so much as that if you can see what you've got to do, having thought about it in the first place, you'll do it. So to mentally prepare, firstly you've got to think to yourself, how do I see myself now as a shooter or as a rider or whatever it is you're going to be, but how do you see yourself now? How do you want to see yourself? Where do you want to see yourself being? And then how are you going to bridge that gap? Now, from a mental preparation point of view, your starting point is to learn to quieten your mind. And that's about breath control, but breath control is breathing normally. Not trying to induce anything there, but just breathing normally.
So trying to keep it as natural as per normal.
And allow a quiet space. So these are great training tools, the armchair. Armchair training is fabulous.
I'll have a bit of armchair training any day.
So you allow your mind to quiet, and you dispel sounds and you dispel thoughts and get to that point where you can actually imprint on your brain the place where you want to be. So the first thing you do is you see yourself as that champion. Second thing you do is you see yourself performing your technique, so the technical side of it, successfully. We never imprint failures or mistakes. We always see success. So we imprint ourselves performing successfully. And then we start to break it down and see ourselves performing the individual parts of whatever stage we're going to be shooting in a successful manner. So tactically, we've already thought about it. Mentally, now in the armchair, we're going to imprint it. And some people find a kinesthetic, something to hold, helps them. So you might put the gun in your hand. While you close your eyes and you're seeing yourself do things, having something of the tool you're going to use to help you would be of great advantage. So I'm a very much a visual and a kinesthetic person. So when I visualise, I'd have either the grip or the actual pistol in my hand while I was visualising. And just the feel of the grip in the hand is strange. I can actually feel my hand tingling now. The feel of the grip in the hand is so strong. And it's odd that the cheapest part of the gun is actually the most important part. Because when you use the grip to bring yourself up on aim, either a pistol, rifle, shotgun, doesn't matter what it is, if that grip feels right, your sights and everything else are going to be perfectly aligned. And so having that sensation is like an initiator for success.
It's interesting you say that, because one of the things which I've done personally for many years, and everybody I know they take the mickey out of me and I don't care about it, is I visualize the stage. So inevitably, as you know, you have a few minutes to go and have a look at the stage. And once you visualize that stage, I then take myself off, put myself in my little bubble, and I close my eyes and I see the whole stage. And from how I place my feet, where do I put my run up to, at what stage do I bring the gun up, as I take my last shot, am I then already pushing off and moving on to the next shooting position, where do I put my loads in? I think that was one of the things which you and I talked about prior to going to the Worlds. It was getting yourself in that environment where you're very comfortable. Exactly you say, it's like sitting in a comfortable armchair, and it is, you visualize it. So when you come to shoot that stage, all you're doing is pressing a play button, because you've already seen yourself shoot it, and it should be just, oh, I've done this, here we go again, I've already done it before. And so for me, I find it a really, really helpful tool to use. I think for people coming into the sport, how would you try and say to them to try and get themselves better mentally? What's the simple things that you say a couple of top tips for somebody new coming into the sport on what they could start with to be able to help them then progress onto an intermediate stage?
The core one is think positively. Never ever imprint a negative. As a negative to say don't do something. Your brain is a peculiar object. If you ask it not to do something, it will do it. So if you focus on the flyaway shot and say, oh, don't do that, the brain will say, don't do what? I haven't got enough data not to do it, so I'll tell you what, I'll give you a few more and then we'll work on it. So the thing to do is focus on success and then think about what you'll do differently. Think about the solutions and then train the solution. So the solution becomes a success. So all you're ever doing is building success on success on success to your ultimate goal. So positive thinking is by far the most important thing people need to do. And when things go awry, just say, hey, okay, it's not like me to do that, and it's like me to, whatever the success is, shoot tens, shoot faster, whatever it happens to be. And that's the biggest key at the beginning. If people overanalyze what went wrong, it will go wrong again. If people accept that it's not like them to do that, but then analyse their successes, they will get more successes. And that's the biggest thing people should do from the outset.
I think from personally experience, it's that positive mental attitude. It's a case of I can go and do this, I will go and do this, I am going to achieve it. I think if you, I don't know, I'm like you, I've gone on stages, when obviously you've done the pistol side, I'm on the PSG side. You look at some of these stages, you just go, cool, this is going to be an absolute donkey to try and get past that big no shoot. And I hear exactly what you're saying, because when you then go, okay, I mustn't hit that no shoot. You know what happens. You hit the no shoot because it conveniently gets in the way. But you learn from that. You take that away and you go, okay, but on that stage, I shot 20 targets and I had one no shoot. But out of that, I got the positive side. I did this a bit really, really well. My loading went perfectly from here to here because that's exactly how I drilled it. I totally agree, and I think it's important that people actually do have not just the physical ability, where, as you know and I know, that I train personally harder than any stage that I'm going to shoot, to make sure that nothing then flummoxes me on a stage. So mentally, again, I know that is a very important part of it. So when you say you train hard mentally, how much more would you say you should, I don't know, train better to be able to over-exceed to then come back to reality?
If you think about say a Formula One driver, the best Formula One drivers in the world are those that have already turned the corner before they've hit the corner. Their brain is working beyond where they currently are. So if we think about from a practical shooting point of view, you're no longer thinking about the shoot you're about to pull the trigger on, you're thinking about the move to the next one. And that sort of cuts down the time element and things of that nature. So it's the ability to feel comfortable in what you're doing and know that you can do what you can do, so that you don't have to think about what you can do. You can put that into subconscious control and let your conscious mind focus on something important. And I would suggest people breathing, so that allow your subconscious to take you through the stage, because your subconscious will take you there quicker than your conscious mind. So, yeah.
I think, Chris, thank you so much for obviously joining us here today on Gunroom.tv at the Practical Shooting Show in West Point in Exeter. I think, you know, your top tips, your accreditation goes well in front of you, Chris, and I thank you for coming and joining us today, mate. Bless you.